camera.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, man.
Cool. I'm gonna high five all of y'all later.
Very good.
All right, good, guys.
Elias, when we were in Moncton, you talked about the process of getting your TUE and everything with USADA. What's the update now that we're here on Fight Week?
Yeah. So they've denied me once again, but they never say no. They say they want more information, and unfortunately, part of that is more prescription drugs. Again, in a day and age where we all know about the opioid crisis, both here in Canada, the process to take a medicine as prescribed by my family doctor and my medical cannabis providers at Souls Health Network, they're behind me, 100% of the way, and we're going to keep pushing forward because at this point, again, I am fighting this Saturday. I'm going to give it my all. But in many ways, I'm fighting at a competitive disadvantage because I'm not allowed to medicate as prescribed by my doctor. Still a huge believer in clean sport and USADA and everything they do. I wouldn't necessarily even put this towards them. I think this is an outdated mindset that a lot of different organizations and stigma that kind of remains. And that's part of the reason why I want to use my platform, not just for myself, but for all Canadian athletes.
Are you in pain right now, or because you cannot take it?
It's an ongoing process. Whether it's falling asleep and waking up with tremendous pain throughout the night. It's a radiating condition that is always lingering, and it never really has a schedule, and that's always the most upsetting thing. And again, one of the issues, or one of the comments in regards to their most recent denial basically said, oh, you can use it beforehand because of the UFC's policy in regards to not testing in competition. But again, leading up to a fight is the hardest part of a fight because, in regards to pain management, it's the last little part. And obviously with cutting weight and other things that trigger my bilateral neuropathic pain, it's something I've been living with and I'll have to continue to live with at this point.
Did you take other medication leading up to the fight during the camp, or you decided not to?
There's certain medications that don't really, take on the full brunt of it, but it's, again, something I just have to deal with, and it puts me at a competitive disadvantage compared to other athletes that can medicate with more first-line medications, like Vicodin.
There's been a lot of talk heading into this fight on social media and everything like that. Usually you're the one who's doing it and the opponent doesn't reciprocate, but you've had that in this fight where Eric sort of chimed back. Do you like that heading into a fight like this, the back and forth?
Yeah, no. It's friendly back and forth. There's no real animosity or whatever like that. He's a competitor through and through. He's going to try and knock my block off, and I'm just going to show him the difference between chess and checkers.
How much do you feel like him having that fight recently against Thiago Santos, which was a grueling fight for him, and having this quick turnaround fighting you is going to play into your favor on Saturday?
I still think he has a very the mentality of his is very much pressure, very much going forward, and like I mentioned, he's going to try and knock my block off. That's his shtick. He's a southpaw. He's left-handed, and he'll throw 3, 4, 5 lefts in a row, and that allows me to know kind of what is up. Obviously, in regards to his own health, that's up to him. He took the fight, and I'm very grateful for it. He's a competitor through and through, and a true fighter. I really love his hunger and his, mentality of I'll fight anyone everywhere. But unfortunately, that's here and against me, and that's in a losing factor.
Elias, it's 18th fight. It's your 18th fight. Do you walk around feeling like a veteran?
Slowly but surely, and part of that is the aspect of it allows you to truly believe in yourself, and the proof's in the pudding. I've had my hand raised more often than not, and even in the losing fashions that I did, there was much to learn from and much to be proud of, and I'm going to be bringing it all back full circle in Toronto, my hometown, and I really I'm looking forward to the win because that's what's going to happen.
When I started talking to you, you were 1-0.
Yeah.
You were 1-0. That was only 5-6 years ago?
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd, man. You should be very proud.
Appreciate it. Again, it's one step moving forward every single time. I have a tough competitor in front of me. But with that being said, I also have enough mat time, and I think that's where my advantage kind of really hangs in. Eric's obviously taken on some really great fighters. We have a a fighter a mutual fighter in common in regards to Thiago Santos, but he made the same mistakes I made 3 years ago. So I think that competitive advantage is definitely there. He's a raw, talented athlete, but there's many different things, there's many levels to the difference between a great fighter and an athlete. And again, I think the aspect of being in there for so long makes me a more well-rounded martial artist.
Elias, you're on like a really nice run now at this point. 4 wins in the last 5. What do you feel like you stand in this crowded middleweight division at this point?
Well, currently 13th or 14th, obviously. And, Eric Anders is a very tough individual. He's just about right up there. He has that killer mentality, as we've seen in regards to his debut against Rafael Natal. And then you also see the Tim Williams fight, where he was arguably losing part of it and then came up with that, kick to send Tim's head into the bleachers. So, he has a tough mentality to him, and he's a badass. But I think, again, time and time again, I've been in there with, more well-rounded fighters, tougher fighters, collectively in regards to my overall record. Even if you kind of dig into his record and previously and before the UFC, some of the guys had 50-50 records and whatnot, but that is still mat time that allow him to get into his rhythm and get into his style. It's a ferocious style that puts pressure, but I've been here before, and I'll keep being here because I'm in top 15 and soon to be higher.
Do you have any expectations as to when you'll finally get this TUE? Because I know you've said you think you'll get it, but do you have any ideas as to when that'll finally
Well,
happen?
yeah, part of it is it's quite obvious that they don't want to do it because the precedent that it'll set, not just for myself, but for many other athletes, because it will create an avenue for and a roadmap for them to do it. So, again, my next fight is against Eric Anders, but it's not just against one man, it's against the stigma of medical cannabis. I'll keep pushing forward because, this fight is bigger than myself. Obviously, we're fighting in Canada, and Canada finds itself as in the forefront of, breaking down prohibition, and that has in many ways not only encouraged me but almost put me in an obligation to fight for others, and that's where I want to do with my platform.
2-part question, Elias. Are you hosting an after party after the fight?
Yes, I am. Yeah, one would argue the after party is my body, but joking, half kidding. What do you call it? It rhymes, whatever. But yes, I'll be fighting at the Pint. It's right attached to the Skydom. I still call it that. And you're all welcome to come and have a beer with the winner.
Okay, part 2 is how do I get on that? But okay, I got
You
it.
can just reach me. You got my number.
I know it. Okay, thank you.
Slide in my DMs.
You cut a lot of weight, and I know one of the guys that's helping you for your weight cut is Aaron Jeffrey, your teammate, who also sort of does the nutrition side of things. What about him makes him the best guy for the job to help you with this?
Well, obviously, going back even further than that, it is my 18th, 19th fight coming up, and, I know my body. I walk around 215 pounds normally, and, it's just a process that you just have to, at this point, I better know my body, right? So Aaron Jeffrey, obviously, he's a friend, a training partner, and he's a whiz in his own right. He'll be here during, the Monday, the Friday weigh-ins, early weigh-ins, and then, other people that I've been able to work with in regards to a friend and a former coach, Lachlan Chang, who's a wizard in his own right, and then also someone that's working with Caitlin Coolidge. Did I mess up her name? Coolidge? I always mess it up. There you go. What's it called? Guys, I get hit in the head for a living. But point being, what's it called? Her nutritionist as well, Tony Ricci, is someone that I've also worked with. So in many ways, as someone grows as a martial artist, personally, they travel. Like one of the things that I've done is travel and learn from the best from all over. And whether it's from Aaron Jeffries or Tony Ricci, I've been able to, learn from the best.
Another guy that I know you've trained with before is going to be making his UFC debut, and Kyle Nelson. Just tell people about Kyle if they're not familiar with him. He's got a big opportunity on Saturday.
Yeah, big opportunity, huge heart. Obviously, taking a fight on such short notice. Always fear a man that is willing to take a fight on short notice because they're at least mentally ready.
Did you watch Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight?
Yes, I did.
The harder,
Majority of the highlights in regards to all.
the harder that Wilder tried to hit Fury, and the more frustrated he became,
Mm-hmm.
the harder it was to hit him. That's Elias Theodorou fight.
Yeah, I think there's actually even a tie-in because I believe they're both from Alabama as well in regards to Alamadas from Bama. So again, he's a tough competitor who's going to try and knock my block off, but you can't hit what you can't catch.
Elias, I
Thanks
want
for
to ask
watching, guys.
about your work on an independent movie about esports. I just want to know how's that going, and have you considered dabbling in actually like playing and streaming yourself, kind of like some other fighters have, just for fun, and some of them are doing it to make revenue, like Sean O'Malley. How's the esports involvement going?
Yeah, it's great. It's in the process of the funding and investment. We have some really great conversations going, and obviously I'm focused on my fight, and we'll be locking it up. For those that don't know anything about the movie, it's called Last Hit. I play an MMA fighter, huge stretch, and I get injured, and I reinvent myself with competitive video games. So in many ways, it's The Wizard meets Southpaw.
Thanks, Elias.
No worries. Cheers.
The Wizards